All right, today we're going to talk about AI, the massive multi-trillion-dollar world of artificial intelligence. But we're going to start somewhere, well, somewhere you'd probably never expect, a really messy, handwritten surf report. Yeah, you heard that right. So let's just paddle out and see where this wave takes us.
I know, it sounds like a totally random question, right? I mean, on one hand, you've got simple beach conditions, and on the other, you've got maybe the most advanced tech humanity has ever created. But you'll see, the answer to this question, it actually reveals the single biggest challenge that's holding AI back. And the cool part is, it's something we can all wrap our heads around.
Okay, so it all boils down to these three pretty simple ideas. Just think about that surf log again. First, completeness. Are all the wave heights even there? Or are there big gaps? Then, consistency. Is the temperature sometimes listed as, 82 degrees, and other times the entry just says windy? That doesn't match up. And finally, validity. What if it says the water temp is 21 degrees Fahrenheit? That's literally ice. You're not surfing in that. Believe it or not, these exact same problems are what plague AI, but on a massive global scale.
So now I want you to imagine that surf report, but instead of just a few entries, it's billions and billions of data points. That's the kind of scale we're talking about with AI. The entire industry, I'm talking from the smallest startup to the biggest tech giants, it's all built on this foundation of data. And when that foundation is messy, well, the whole structure starts to look pretty shaky.
And look, this isn't just some theoretical problem, okay? According to research from Gartner, bad data costs companies, get this, a staggering $3.1 trillion every single year. That is not a rounding error, folks. That's just a colossal waste. And it's caused by really simple stuff. Everything from a customer's address being entered two different ways to a faulty sensor reading in a supply chain, it all comes back to that one fundamental question. How can we even trust the data to begin with?
Which brings us right back to that idea of validity. How do we actually know if an AI is giving us good information? Or to put it another way, how can we tell if an AI is genuinely smart or if it's just gotten really, really good at faking it?
So this is one of the most fundamental questions in the entire field. And to try and answer it, researchers have come up with these incredibly difficult tests. They're called benchmarks, and they're designed to do one thing: push these AI models to their absolute limits.
The easiest way to think about a benchmark? It's kind of like the SATs, but for a super intelligent machine. It's just a standardized way for us to compare different AI models on, well, everything, from writing computer code to understanding really complex human emotions. And just look at how impossibly hard these tests have gotten. I mean, this is not your high school chemistry quiz. Nope. This is a graduate-level question from a benchmark called GPQA, and it was specifically designed to be Google-proof. You literally can't just search for the answer. And to put that into perspective for you, top human experts, we're talking people with PhDs, they only score around 81% on this. And it's not just chemistry either. Today's benchmarks demand PhD-level knowledge across a completely wild range of subjects. We're talking everything from translating ancient Roman inscriptions to, get this, identifying linguistic patterns in biblical Hebrew. The sheer breadth of knowledge these models are expected to master is, well, it's just astounding. But, and this is the multi-trillion-dollar catch, what if the AI has already seen the test questions? Yeah, this is a massive problem in the industry, and it's called data contamination. And it is so hard to solve because these models are trained on these enormous chunks of the internet. Trying to filter out every single possible test question from petabytes of data, it's like trying to find and remove one specific grain of sand from an entire beach. It's practically impossible.
And the problem, it actually runs even deeper than that. It's not just that the AIs might be, cheating. A recent really systematic analysis called BetterBench found that the tests themselves are often broken. The study looked at 24 major benchmarks and found that 14 of them didn't even report statistical significance. And 17 of them didn't provide the basic scripts needed for other scientists to even try and replicate the results. So the very foundation we're using to measure how smart these things are is frankly pretty questionable.
Okay, so if the tests are flawed, what about the data the AI is learning from to begin with? What exactly is it being fed? What's its diet?
Now, this is going to sound crazy, but it's a very real fear among AI researchers. We might actually be running out of high-quality data to train new AI. We could soon hit a wall, a point where the demand for good text, images, and video to train the next generation of models is bigger than the entire available supply on the internet. And it's just because these models are getting so powerful, they need an almost unimaginable amount of information to learn from.
So, what's the solution? Well, one of the big ideas floating around is something called synthetic data. Basically, data that's generated by other AIs. On the one hand, it's an infinite resource, and it gets around all those tricky privacy issues. But it has this one major flaw, a phenomenon called model collapse. That's where an AI that's trained only on another AI's data, it starts to forget what the real world is actually like. It's like making a photocopy of a photocopy of a photocopy. Eventually, you just get degraded, bizarre junk. And all of this brings us to a huge issue: transparency. A lot of the time, we don't even know what data these models were trained on in the first place. Now, the good news is, things do seem to be getting a little better. This chart from Stanford's Foundation Model Transparency Index shows the average score jumped from 37% back in October 2023 up to 58% in May 2024. But let's be real here. A score of 58%, that's still a failing grade in pretty much any classroom.
So let's recap. We've got questionable tests, and we've got inconsistent, often totally mysterious data. So why does any of this matter? Well, because the stakes are no longer just about some messy surf report. They're getting incredibly high.
Okay, let's start with an example where the stakes are pretty low. During the 2024 Mexican election, this AI-generated image of a Starbucks cup started making the rounds, and it implied the company was endorsing a political candidate. Of course, Starbucks had to come out and issue a statement saying, "Nope, not us." So yeah, annoying for their brand for sure, but at the end of the day, nobody was seriously hurt.
But the problem is escalating, and it's escalating fast. That same technology is being used for much darker things, like creating fake nude images of high school students. It's being used to pump out misinformation to try and sway elections all over the world. And it's leading to this general erosion of trust, right? Where we can't even be sure if the video or the audio we're seeing and hearing is real anymore. And in the most tragic cases, the consequences are just devastating. This quote you see here, this is a real quote from a conversation a 14-year-old boy had with an AI chatbot right before he died by suicide. His family is now suing the AI company. They're alleging that the bot actually encouraged his actions instead of trying to get him help. This is the ultimate cost of flawed AI.
Now, it is really easy to look at all these risks and just feel pessimistic about the whole thing. But that is only half the story. Because at the exact same time all these dangers are popping up, AI is also powering some of the most incredible scientific breakthroughs of our lifetime. I mean, just look at what happened in the last few months of 2024 alone. An AI called FireSat can now spot wildfires from orbit in a matter of minutes. Another one, GenCast, is delivering weather forecasts that are more accurate than any traditional system we've ever had. And in the world of quantum computing, AI helped achieve a milestone that would take the fastest supercomputer we have longer than the age of the universe to figure out. It's just incredible.
And it doesn't stop there. AI is helping us create the most detailed map of the human brain ever made. It's designing brand new proteins that have never existed in nature, which could totally revolutionize medicine. And it's dramatically speeding up the whole process of discovering new life-saving drugs. So this is really the paradox of where we are right now. We have this world-changing technology that's capable of both incredible good and, profound harm. And all of it, it's all built on this messy foundation of data. A foundation that, just like that surf report, needs us to constantly pay attention to its completeness, its consistency, and its validity. This technology is accelerating at a truly unbelievable rate. So the big question we all have to answer is this: can our wisdom keep pace? Can our ability to manage it, to demand better data, better testing, and much stronger safeguards, can it possibly keep up? Because the future of AI, it isn't just in the hands of the engineers. It's in all of ours.